Dear friends, we are entering the 23rd day in the season of Advent, almost at the eve of Christmas, where God gives us His Son so that our hearts exult in joy and hope. As we gather to celebrate this magnificent Christmas day with our parents, brothers and sisters, relatives and friends, let us remember the spirit of Christmas must go out of ourselves to the needy. Christmas is all about God connecting Himself to His own. It's a time that calls us to connect ourselves who are out there beyond our compound walls, within the walls of prison, oppression, persecution, and destruction. Go out and share is the request of the time. Go out and become the good news and experience the joy of giving, the joy of sharing. May this intimate joy never vanish from our hearts. In an article entitled "The Priest, the Beggar and the Pope," written by K. D. Enser, the author powerfully reveals the real-life direct intervention of God's mercy upon a priest. Some years ago, a priest was visiting Rome and was fortunate to have an audience with Pope John Paul II. Anyway, this priest had an hour free before he was to meet with the Pope, so he decided to go to the church across the street. On the steps of the church were several beggars. He thought he recognized one of the beggars sitting on the steps, but he passed him by and went into the church to pray. As he knelt down in the church, he realized where he knew the beggar from. He rushed back out of the church and asked the man, "Do I know you?" To which the beggar replied, "Yes, we went to seminary together." The priest replied, "So you are a priest then?" And the beggar says, "I used to be, but look at me now." So the priest told the beggar that he would pray for him. The beggar replied, "Lot of good, that will do." Then the priest left for his meeting with the Pope, but was saddened and startled by this reunion. When this priest went to meet Pope John Paul, he bowed his head and found himself kind of blurting out of story about the beggar he had met. Pope John Paul, concerned, and told the priest that he would pray for the beggar. The following day, the priest went to the same church and saw the beggar once again. He told the beggar, "Guess what? Not only I am praying for you, but now Pope John Paul is." The beggar replied, "Yeah, so what? It won't do anything." Later that day, the priest got a call from Pope's office. The Holy Father wanted to have a dinner with the priest and the beggar. So the priest tracked him and he told him, "The Pope invited me to dinner and he said that I had to bring you as well." "Me?" said the beggar. "Look at me. I haven't showered or shaved in who knows how long, and look at my clothes. I rented you a room in the hotel across the street and got you some clothes as well." Not long after, the priest and the beggar were meeting with the Pope to have a dinner. They met in the Pope's private residence and enjoyed wondrous hospitality. The first course came and the second, and the Pope mentioned to the priest and asked him to leave the room for a while. So he left the Pope and the beggar in the room by themselves. Almost half an hour went by before the priest was allowed to come back, after which the two men said goodbye to the Pope and left. The priest asked the beggar, "What did Pope John Paul say to you?" The beggar said that the Pope asked the beggar if he would hear his confession. The beggar said, "Me? How could I? I'm just a beggar now." The Pope replied as he clasped the man's hands in his, "So am I." So he heard the Pope's confession, and then Pope returned the favor and heard the beggar priest a very lengthy confession. After that moment of reconciliation, the beggar was reinstated as a priest, and the Holy Father sent him to that parish church where he once begged to minister to those who still did. This story comes with the good news that when we turn to Him, God works the unexpected. The whole act of incarnation had restoration, communion, and salvation as its focus. Let us make a turn and make God the mentor of our lives. Amen.